Well, hello lovely people, welcome to today's pick a card reading. As you probably know, we are finally in the period of Pluto being in Aquarius. So I thought it is the perfect time to delve a little bit deeper into what this would signify for you. So basically what changes you can expect now that Pluto has entered into Aquarius, what is shifting in your life, and basically what you will be focusing on more from now on. And as you know, Pluto is a generational planet, so this transit, depending on which house it is going through for you, and also like how big or small that house is, this transit can be felt, of course, differently. But technically, either way, it's going to be like a 15 to 20-year transit, so this is going to be a long time thing. Now, because of course we can't necessarily speak about the whole period as life changes, this will be more so focusing on either something overarching, we'll see when we pull the cards, so overarching for the whole period it might be, or it might be also just something that is happening right now with the start of the transit. So, as you can see, there are 3 piles to choose from with 3 rings. So pick the one that you feel the most drawn to and let's explore what this transit will bring you. Hello, pile 1. If you chose this beautiful ring over here, or the card which is Konsu, if I am pronouncing it correctly, with the keyword of Hermitage, then this is your part of the reading. Let's get into it. So, for you guys, starting off with maybe the overarching theme of this reading, this will be a period for you that has to do with basically closing out old chapters which are no longer serving and getting the spark of creativity, the spark of enlightenment on where to move next and where to focus your energy next. Now we'll get into the cards one by one, of course, but this is the general meaning of taking all the cards together. So, starting off firstly with the Egyptian card, this one, the god Khonsu, let's call him, with the Hermitage message. Now, he is the so-called moon god, you can say, because in the mythology he has to do with the traveling of the moon over the sky at night, and he is thought to protect those traveling. So there might be something here literally about you traveling somewhere and this being significant to you, or it might just metaphorically speak about the travel through the darkness, because what is night? It is basically darkness. It is something a bit scary, something that we don't completely see or understand, but we trust where we are going, so we keep moving forward. And this god deity is considered as a defender and also a healer in his own right, protecting fertility as well. So this might be a period in time that is particularly fruitful for you. This doesn't have to mean necessarily in a childbearing sense. It can again signify being inspired, being full of ideas, being full of creative juices just flowing everywhere. And one thing I noticed through your cards, there is this presence of fire within them. And you know, fire is like exactly the spark of life. So it seems what this Pluto and Aquarius transit will bring to you is exactly this. It seems that up till this point, you have been heavily in the energy of seeing what you need to let go of, and probably also in the process of getting detached from it. And now with this Pluto transit, I think it will be kind of like the final nail in the coffin to push you there, to let go of that thing and to get inspired on what you should be doing instead of this thing that you have been doing up till this point. God Consul in himself speaks about this dormant potential that we have within all of us, and this potential we just have to be open to new ideas and be brave enough. Be brave in facing up to what we don't know, what is night in our life, what is scary, and take charge forward. And if we are to look at your tarot cards, so you received, let's say, a couple of stressful cards and a couple of positive in their own way cards. So you received both the Eight of Cups and the Eight of Swords card, which speak about, on the one hand, finally walking away from something which is no longer serving us, walking away from this little spark over here in order to move towards the sun. So leaving behind something which was maybe bringing us something, but this was not enough. There is higher potential for you out there, and once you turn your back to the small thing, you face towards the big thing. Like, you fully grasp it, you understand it, you see it, and you can take the necessary steps to move forward in that direction. And with the Eight of Swords, there is a message of feeling tied in your own mind. So the Eight of Swords is not a card that necessarily speaks about outside influences which are keeping us stuck in some situation. It's not a card of someone imposing rules or regulations on us. It is a card where we are being victims of our own mind. Like, this is basically what the card shows in its imagery. That we have this lady, she is in her room completely free, but the way she sees herself in the mirror is as somebody who has no options. So you might have been, or you might still be struggling a little bit with that mental aspect of feeling stuck into something. This will shift for you. And this shift might come at a cost of facing a little bit of outward or inward or both pushbacks. So we got the Five of Wands card, which is a card of competition. So it is possible that this new thing that you will be striving towards, either you might receive some kind of pushback from the people around you, because sometimes when we change, especially if it is a drastic change, the people around us, even if they have our highest interest in mind, it's just a little bit of a shaking to the system, which people are always hesitant in the face of change. So don't take this necessarily as don't take it at all as something that you are doing wrong, or even necessarily as something that the people around you are doing wrong. This is part of human nature. But know that no matter what kind of change you are undertaking, there will be some kind of struggle with it. There will always be someone to be a naysayer. And on another level of this, those could be also like the different aspects of your psyche kind of fighting with each other. Because again, when we are in the midst of a change, like in the trenches of changing, there is a part of us that wants to cling to the old, which has served us. There's a part of us who sees this new potential and wants to strive for it. There's a part of us that might be like the dog pig or pig dog. I think the Germans had this saying of basically being a lazy ass and not wanting to do anything and just wanting to lay there like a dog pig. So you might find yourself in the situation of those different parts of you fighting. But again, we can see at the top of the card this fire, which seems to have some significance to you, as the goalpost of what we want. So no matter if you have this time of maybe feeling unsure, or feeling like other people are trying to make you unsure, or even pure feeling lazy, there will be a driving force within you bringing you forward toward this idea. There will be this spark for you. And this whole process, again, we mentioned the Pluto in Aquarius transit is going to be super long. This is why also in the intro I try to emphasize that this doesn't mean that this will be an issue you would be facing for the whole of the next 50 to 20 years. No, it doesn't have to be. It might be something that you're just facing now at the start of it. And again, I implore you to take a look at your own chart using the Placidus house system to see exactly through which house Pluto will be moving for you and for exactly how long. Because in your chart there might be houses that are bigger or smaller than other ones, and this will have an impact. But either way, no matter how long this is, there will be the feeling here of it needing long and consistent work. Like the guy on the card that's trying to get his bonsai tree to grow. You know, those pesky little things can take many, many years to show up, to even look like something. And there will be an aspect of this to your effort as well. So don't expect this change, of course, to happen overnight. You might receive this initial spark of the idea overnight, because we got the Ace of Swords for you. You can see how enlightenment is beaming out of her head. So this might feel the same for you. And this overnight spark of idea might be the starting force of all of this sequence happening afterwards, but the change itself is going to take more than that. And with the astrology cards that we got for you, they show the same thing, basically. With the opposition, again, opposition, you know, is when two planets are 180 degrees apart from one another. And the opposition is not a bad aspect, but you can say it is an aspect of a sort of misunderstanding, or even maybe, no, the quincunx, so the 150 degrees is an aspect of misunderstanding. The opposition is an aspect of maybe not seeing where the difference comes from. It is like having the two faces of the same coin. Like, it doesn't make sense why we are so different. So what this could mean for you, again, apart from the literal meaning that there might be some kind of oppositions you face along this change, there might be a sort of glass ceiling in your mind that you need to break through in order to move to the next level. So with oppositions, again, astrologically speaking, the way we fix them energetically in our chart is to look at the middle point. Regardless if that middle point has a planet in it or not. If it does, then this energy will be crystallized through that planet. The unifying force will be through the energy of that planet. If not, you can, for instance, look at Sabian symbols and take their meaning and explore it as a point of unifying these forces. But the idea is that the opposition draws us in two completely different directions, and we can find a way to balance them out. So this is why it is a sort of glass ceiling, that like there is something there, but you just can't fully grasp it and see it. So this will be, let's say, the trenches of this change. And with the both moons, with the waning gibbous and the waxing crescent, they just reiterate this message of closing one chapter from the past and moving on to something new, a new idea. And the last two cards you got, the two animal cards over here, we can say, again, we can take as confirmation with this. And with the firefly, we again have this message of fire. So I don't know if fire is somehow important to you, and maybe you are a person, for instance, who has a lot of fire planets, or maybe Pluto is transiting a fire house for you, which would be like, I think, the 1st, the 5th, the 9th, or the 1st, the 5th, and the 9th. Yes, exactly. 3 houses. Or I don't know, maybe you see fire everywhere, or maybe you just feel super fiery at this point. It doesn't matter. But the idea of the buffalo is that while the buffalo is grounded, like an earth sign, it is heavy, it is stepping on the earth with its full force. Its horns are like shooting towards the stars, so to say. So he has a connection towards the higher realms. And the buffalo is... he is a heavy opponent. He is not someone who is going to be blown away by a gust of wind, basically. He sees challenges, hardships, anything that happens on the road towards the successful achievement of what the buffalo wants as an opportunity for leveling up, so to say. So with the buffalo, there is this message of not being fearful, standing your ground and knowing that you are moving towards the thing that you want to move towards, and that no matter what comes your way, you can deal with it. And I would say this is the energy that you will be embracing during this time as well. And with the firefly signifies exactly that brief moment of receiving some kind of amazing clarity. You can even imagine like a firefly being the lighting force within this stairway of her mind, where for just a really brief period of time you might receive this spark of what you want to do and how you're going to do it, and in which direction you need to move, at least for the first couple of steps. Like, you don't need to have the whole road in front of you figured out, but you just need to know the general direction, and then you can read the signs along the way and adapt. But with the firefly, it is just really important to remember that this light is not something that's going to be there for long. And this is not meant as a way to scare you. It is meant in a way that sometimes we have this genius inside of us, which is short-lived. I don't know if this has happened to you, but it has happened to me in the past, where I might wake up in the middle of the night with some kind of idea, and if I don't write it down right then and there, I am not going to remember it the next day. So after losing a couple of ideas that way, I started writing things down if that happens in the middle of the night. It doesn't happen that often, but maybe this is something you should also do, like keep a notebook with you, or just leave a voice message on your phone. It doesn't matter, but be open to when this small light of a message comes in your life. Be open to it, write it down potentially so you don't forget, and then follow it. You know how poets, musicians, writers, whatever, people who rely on creativity will sometimes speak about, I am sitting here and waiting for that creative spark to happen. And I mean, sometimes you just have to sit your ass down and do it, and through practice you get better at it. But sometimes it is valid that we just need an idea to come to us in order to be able to move forward. So just make sure that this idea doesn't pass you by. Be open to it. And once you have it, know that you can take it as far as you need to take it. Don't be afraid of it. Be heavy like the buffalo. Nothing can move you from the road. Good Pile 1. I think that that's everything for you guys. I wish you all the luck. Hello Pile 2. If you chose this guy over here, one of my favorite rings, the clitoris ring, then this is your part of the reading. Let's get into it, starting with the overarching theme. So, I want to say that the overarching theme for you, I feel, will be relationships. Also prosperity. With the gap card, we receive the prosperity as well. But it seems you are entering in a period where, above all else, a lot of things for you will happen also through the means of relationships. I feel like, especially if you relate to the message that up till this point, you have been more of a loner person, of a hermit person. It seems that now will be the time of shifting that and allowing for people, significant people, to come into your life, which will then bring on significant change. And we will get into the cards individually, but this seems to be the main idea of your reading. So let's get into it one by one. The other thing I want to mention, in your reading, it seems that the earth element is somehow significant. You received both the card of Gep, who in Egyptian mythology is a god of earth and all animals and like plants and so on. You also received the Virgo card, as well as from the tarot. If we look at it, we have the Hermit, also the Eight of Pentacles, which is not necessarily Virgo energy, but it very much fits with that archetype, and also the Bee card, which also very nicely fits with that archetype. So I don't know if you happen to be a Virgo yourself, or it could be that Pluto for you is transiting the 6th house of Virgo, or maybe you're just a person who has those qualities. Like, in whichever way you relate to it, just this energy will be somehow significant to you. Now, looking at the cards one by one, like we said, Gep himself is a god of the earth and the animals and the plants and the trees and the birds and the bees and so on. And with him, you can trust that there will be development. The end of the road with Gep is prosperity, but the road itself is long and requires constant work. You know that in order for your crops to grow and to be good, you need to go to your garden and you need to water them every day. You need to plant them the right way. You need to then take them out of the ground again in the right way. The same is for the animals. In order for you to have healthy animals that you can eat at the end of the year or whatever, you need to feed them the right things. You need to take care of them. You need to not stress them. You need to not give them medicine all the time. Like, you need to take proper care of them day in and day out. And this is very much the energy of the Virgo and also the Eight of Pentacles. So whatever this transit will bring you exactly, whatever this prosperity means to you, will be a period of work. And I mentioned this both in pile 1 and in the intro to the reading. Pluto in Aquarius. Pluto is an extremely generational planet. This transit now will span over the next 15 to 20 years. So we can expect that, of course, these changes might happen slow as well, but it doesn't have to be. It might be that this just will be the starting period of this transit for you. And again, depending on your individual chart, if you take a look at it, And depending on how big or small a given house is for you, this might feel shorter or longer. Like the Aquarius part is going to be equal for everybody, but depending on your house structure, things might look and feel a little bit different. So we have this as a big significator along the way. The Virgo energy, the Hermit energy, the Perfectionist energy, and the bringer of fruitfulness at the end of the day. There will be a part of this work for you which will be extremely detail oriented with the Virgo card. So whatever you are striving towards right now, you are asked to find enjoyment in it, because Virgo as a sign can signify our day-to-day life. This is not an effort that you just need to put in one time again. It is something that is either or will become a routine for you. Now, the negative part of this is not falling in the tendency of being too perfectionistic, because this is a possibility with our lovely Virgos out there. In practicing and perfecting your craft, you should always have the understanding that perfection in itself is impossible. It's great to strive for everyday bettering yourself, but there is no such thing as reaching 100%. That's like that old math and engineer joke where they gave the task to a mathematician and to an engineer that every day there is a beautiful woman, let's say 20 meters away from you, and every day you can shorten the distance in half, the both of you. And the mathematician left because he said, like, there is always going to be distance. Mathematically speaking, you will never reach a net zero, but the engineer was smarter than that, and he said, like, yeah, of course I'm doing it. I mean, the distance doesn't have to be net zero. I just have to be close enough to get the job done. So this might be the thing that you will work on during this transit, understanding that whatever you do, you are not going to achieve perfection. So just put out the product out there and wait for the feedback of the people around you, and it might be much more positive than you anticipated. And also develop the discipline of doing whatever you are doing day in and day out. But again, enjoy it. Like, don't hurt yourself and your own soul in the process. Life is there to enjoy at the end of the day. And to move on to the tarot, with you, I am saying that relationships will somehow play a huge part in this, because you received one Hermit card, which is again the Virgo energy, and the energy of staying up there in the mountain, away from everybody, and trying to understand some kind of ultimate truth, trying to evolve yourself before you return to the everyday life where you can share your knowledge with people. But also all other energies, apart from the Eight of Pentacles, which we said is our working hard card and seeing results over time. All of the other cards are the so-called court cards. And the idea with court cards is that they often signify significant people around you and the energy of those significant people around you. So we can look at them in two ways. We can, of course, look at them in the way of you moving through all of these energies in your path of self-development. And this will definitely be true because we grow with time. So we are the pages, then we are the knights, then we are the queens, the kings, and so on. We have all of these aspects within ourselves. So there will be a part of you here which will go through the energies of finding mental clarity, mental peace, of also connecting with your feelings, connecting with your intuition, coming to emotional peace with yourself as well. But there is also the other part of this which will be really significant for you, and this will be relating to all of these people. These people are coming out as extremely significant regarding you and your journey during this transit. So Pile 2, with all of these people showing up in your reading, you can't ignore the fact that a big part of the work that's coming for you regarding this will be to move out of this hermit energy that you have been up till this point and open yourselves to those people around you who are coming to both teach you a lesson and to help you on the road forward. Now, those people, we can of course look at the archetypes that the cards signify. So with the Knight of Cups, that might be a romantic interest. With the Queen of Cups, she might be some kind of motherly figure, someone who you find deep consolence in, I think is the word. With the King of Swords, he might be some kind of teacher on the mental plane, so some kind of authority figure in your field of intellectual interest, so in your career or in your projects. With the King of Cups, it might be some kind of therapist or similar authority, someone you go towards when you need emotional advice, so to say, as opposed to the King of Swords, who is purely a mental counselor in the sense of a lawyer or a teacher or someone like that. But no matter who these exact people are, those will be the features that they bring to your life and move you forward. And there might be a hesitancy at first to let yourself onto these people, and again I feel like the hesitancy here will have to do with somehow not feeling that what you're bringing to the table is enough. Again, going through some kind of issues surrounding perfectionism. So maybe you don't feel the product that you are bringing to the world is enough, or maybe it is not having the self-esteem within yourself that people would like you enough. Like whatever it exactly is, it will be something self-esteem related. With the sextile card that you got, it is even written on the card itself. It is a card of working together and forming a pleasant, mutual and stress-free relationship. And I said this earlier during the reading as well. With the sextile, I feel that you'll just be pleasantly surprised how easy this happens for you once you start doing it. I feel like you are expecting some kind of amazing hurdle now that you still haven't started to work on those relationships, but it will just happen naturally. And lastly, from the astrology cards, you received the pre-shadow retrograde. So with the pre-shadow retrograde, I feel like there might be a message here that you already know about some of these people, but maybe you don't know them deep enough, or maybe you have turned your back to them somehow, not in the sense of, yeah, you had a quarrel in the past and you left them behind, not that type of thing. But it could be, for instance, your colleague that you have never spent a lot of time with because you thought that they didn't like you, for instance, or whatever. You might have this inkling in your mind, like you know how in retrograde season we might receive like this little small message of something from the past. I feel like you might happen to one day think of someone who you haven't contacted in a while or you haven't seen in a while, maybe someone from your school which was 10 years ago or something, and then you might find this person coming into your life and taking one of those important central roles for you. Okay, to move towards the last two cards from the Animal Spirit Oracle, you got the Octopus and the Bee card. So with Octopus, I would say there are two messages with the Octopus. You see how an octopus has all of these legs, let's say, daddy long legs in the water. So I feel for you it will signify a point in time where you will be working on many things at once. You will be like the octopus. You will have every of your tentacles in a different cookie jar. And I feel like this will be the thing, apart from the relationship aspect, which will bring you prosperity in the end. The other thing with the octopus is regarding relationships. And this is the idea that sometimes the octopus might be, let's say, a little bit clingy. There might be an issue that you will be working through once you get involved with all of these people who will be central to your growth, and this will be learning to set healthy boundaries. Again, with the Virgo card, Virgo can be similar to the octopus in the sense of that a Virgo will try to do everything in its power for the people who are important to it. So you might overburden yourself responsibility-wise, wanting to take too much care of too many people, and at the end of the day, you have 24 hours exactly like everybody else. So it's great, it is noble to help, to give of yourself, but there is just a limit. And the octopus can face a similar issues of wanting to be too many things to too many people and provide too many things. And you stress out and die in a cloud of your own ink. So whichever part of this you see exactly in your life, it will need balancing out. And you will be working on that balancing out. But of course, in order to work on your boundaries, as great as it might be to have a plan in your mind of how you're going to do things, you can only test it once you are already in a one-to-one interaction with somebody. So this is again going to be something that will clear itself out for you once you move out of that hermit energy and once you start connecting with people. And with the bee, there is a doubling down on this message. You know how they say busy bee, basically. The bee is an amazing colleague and friend and person to have on your team. On the one hand, because they can offer so much. They have so much energy. They like to keep busy. They like to be productive. And they will work on a project steadily and with dedication until the whatever task there is complete. But the bee, exactly like the Virgo, because Virgos, even if they look tough, they have a gentle nervous system. So they might not show themselves as being upset, but there will be signs in their nervousness, in their body especially, because as an earth sign they govern parts of the body. But with the bee, the idea is that if there is stress, if there is something in the environment which is off, they will feel it and it will upset their system, even to the point of exhaustion. You know how in a dirty climate, let's say, bees are one of the first things to have an issue with surviving. So it is very important with this type of energy to always strive for that balance within yourself and to do things in the way in order to ensure this balance for yourself, especially again when we are talking about giving too much of oneself to others potentially. You need to be careful of that as a possibility, and also to not overburden yourself with work. The overarching message that we mentioned at the beginning of the reading as well, that you need to find that day-to-day joy in doing the repetitive tasks and putting in the work in whatever field you are working with. Because if the bee gets overburdened, if it gets overworked, then their amazing, joyous personality just goes to shit. They will bite you, or rather they will not bite you, they will sting you with their ray. But when they sting you, you know, bees also die from that. So this is not like the Scorpio who can get its anger out on somebody and then move forward. No, this will be detrimental to yourself as well. So through all of this, you will work on balancing things out in your life. Working hard without overworking yourself, striving for improvement without being perfectionistic, striving to deliver the best product without alienating yourself, and hoping that one day the product and you by default will be errorless. Like, that is not possible. In whichever direction you go, prosperity lies in front of you, but you will have to balance the energies within you. And the same goes for relationships. Giving from yourself without overgiving, without running yourself into the ground. So pile 2, this is basically what this next period will be for you. I hope that this was helpful and I wish you all the luck. Hello pile 3, if you chose the wolf ring, this one over here, then this is your part of the reading. Let's get into it, starting like with the other 2 piles with the overarching message. And with you guys, the overarching message seems to have more so of a private character than with the other 2 piles. So what do I mean? With the other piles, there was a really clear red thread of something which will be seen in their outside circumstances regarding this transit. And with you guys, I feel like the change here, not to say that it will not be profound, but will be something much more all-encompassing in your psyche than necessarily something that can be seen as a singular change from outside. So let's get into your cards one by one so we can explore this energy more in detail. And so, with your oracle card, the Egyptian god Ptah, let's say, with the keyword of skill. Now, with this card, we have the idea here being that what Ptah as an entity provides is skill, and the meaning of skill starting from the mind. There will be some kind of important mental shift with you, which will be the start of this change in this period. I want to point out in this card how we have the spark of creativity, like divine fire coming from this lady's head. It's like the third eye opening and bringing us some kind of clarity. And Ptah has a similar sense to him, meaning that he provides this ability to concentrate deeply out of nowhere, to see with an objectivity something which we might not have been able to see up till this point. I also want to mention it now that one of the animal spirit cards that you received is the Phoenix card, and the Phoenix card is really significant because, again, unlike the other cards in this deck, it is a spiritual card, and it speaks, its energy encompasses the energies of everything else, so to say. It is a grand card. It goes beyond the individual energies of the fire, of the earth, of the water, and the blah blah blah. There is a sense in your reading of your mind transforming in a way which, again, I feel like might not be noticeable to those around you, but for you will feel like burning bridges completely. You know the legend of the phoenix who needs to go up in flames in order to be reborn. There might be a feeling of dramaticness similar to this story for you. So whatever you have done up to this point will now shift dramatically. And I feel like it is significant that the first tarot card that came up for you is also the Six of Swords, which is exactly the card of moving, shifting from one mental state to another. So although the Six of Swords is not the most dramatic card of change, that would be typically the Tower, which is also a major arcana signifying something crumbling to its base in front of our eyes because it was not built on stable foundations. Here, again, this is why I'm saying that the change will be mostly felt within you and within your mind, because the Six of Swords, swords in general, speak about the mental plane and us achieving some kind of mental clarity. And the Six of Swords is this card that travels from one side of the pond to another. And in undertaking this travel, you will go through some kind of stress represented by the waves. There might be some kind of upheaval. At the very least, if there is not circumstantial upheaval, there will be the upheaval of your mind being afraid to move in this new direction. But either way, you are led there, and once those pesky waves get out of are no longer there, you will enter into a new type of peace and serenity in your mind. And it seems that this will coincide with you with some kind of creative spark. Because the card that came up after it, the Ace of Wands, speaks about creativity. It is the fire of life. And this fire starts with some kind of small idea. And then once we take this idea and start ramping up the volume, it develops into something complete. And this will be the start of the cycle for you as well. Now, exactly what this idea will be for you, I can't say for sure. This will be something that you will know for yourself. But from then onwards, this will be the point that will start the forward movement. Let's say it's also in the physical. Up till this point, this will be completely mental. And I feel like what is represented here as the potential hurdle and the issue might manifest itself in the physical world for you, because we received the Pentacle cards, and Pentacles speak about the material plane. But this material manifestation will be just the outside symptom of what is going on inside your head. And what I mean is, with the reversed Ace of Pentacles and the reversed Four of Pentacles, there is this sense here of you wanting to give something of yourself, meaning you wanting to provide some kind of service, you wanting to provide some kind of product, something tangible. But there is a sort of unfinishedness to it and a sort of feeling of lack. And this lack might have to do with you not feeling that you're providing enough, or it might be the result of some kind of lack of cooperation with people around you, or it might just be that mental blockage of because you don't believe that you can do something or that you can provide something to a high standard, that you just kind of screw yourself over in your tracks, so your mind can sustain that idea that you can't do something. I hope that makes sense. I don't know how better to say it as an advice for you than basically emphasizing that whatever you do during this period, the most important work for you will be with your mind. And this is, of course, a generality in a way, because change is always mental, at least in some way. But again, your energy is very much then that everything for you will start with the mind. That things on the outside will be boggled down until that mind thing is resolved or worked on, or at least noticed. Because again, with the other piles, it was much more an energy of something tangible, something we are doing. For instance, we are going out, we are doing this, things are happening. For you, it will be somehow in the reversed. Not saying that you are going to hermetize yourself or anything like that, but with you, everything will start from some kind of clarity and some kind of belief. We have the Sagittarius card coming up for you as part of the astrology cards. And Sagittarius is an extremely outgoing and optimistic energy. Sagittarius is a very explorative and open-minded energy. It is the energy of the eternal student, let's say it. It is also the energy of some kind of spiritual guru sitting up in the mountain. But they are only sitting up in the mountain and giving advice after they have experienced all aspects of life. So this will be the direction that you will be moving towards. So if you have found yourself up till this point in some kind of stuck energy, maybe because of this sense of mental confusion and not knowing where to go, what to do, this will start to clear itself out for you. But there needs to be an energy within you of belief that things are on your side, a sense of optimism, because Sagittarius is an extremely optimistic energy. It is expansion, it is ruled by Jupiter, the sign of we can make everything happen, even the wildest of fantasies. And it is trusting that that energy has your back, and that no matter where you are falling from, you can land on your feet and you can continue moving forward. And especially because with the reverse pentacle energy, it's very much giving this energy of clinging strongly to your feeling of comfort and to some sense of stability. I feel like you will have to shake up that stability in your life in order to get the juices going again. The other thing is Sagittarius rules our belief systems. So if you find yourself in a belief system that you are noticing has somehow started to not work for you, maybe you are exploring new ideas, maybe you are meeting people who are giving you new types of information, this might be also something you need to embrace, some kind of paradigm shift. You received, apart from the Sagittarius card, the asteroid Astra Air. And with her, the message is She is the goddess of justice for the ancient Greeks, and it is the idea that she is the the judge lady. She is the person you go to resolve your conflict, to tell you what is the right thing to do, what is the wrong thing to do. So there is this sense again that you have to somehow work out what your belief system is and then keep your decisions moving forward aligned to that belief system. And again, all of this will happen after, or let's say simultaneously, with you achieving that mental concentration and the objectivity that will come as a result of that. The skill that our Egyptian god Ptah will teach you. And the other thing that I want to mention, because we didn't mention the Knight of Cups in all too great detail. Now, a little side track, if this is something that you want to hear, of course. Our lovely Knight of Cups can represent the energy of romance in your life, but at the very least, if it's not romance coming through another person, it is our ability to romanticize our own life and to find the joy in our own life and to use our creativity. He is a guy of creativity. So somewhere along this road of this change, once you set your mind on the right track, you will unlock this creative spark within you. This will move you forward. This will most likely also help you to move out of the negative stuck pentacle energy of feeling unsure and unready and unprotected and ungrounded and in a sense of lacking. I think it is significant for you guys that we also received the Three of Cups in the reversed position, because even there it gives the vibe of feeling a sense of lack, in being supported, in having a group of people around you. And if this is something that you find you have done, if you have in being stuck in this unsure energy in yourself, if you feel that you have alienated people, it will be a part of your task to reach out to those people again, to mend those relationships. But again, I feel like you need to come to this point in a, not in a logical way, but in a flowing way. It's not something you should go and do today in order to get the other energies moving. Like for instance, I heard in a reading that I need to make amends with the people in my life, so I go and do it. I don't think that this is the timely progression for you. I feel like that this will come at a later point after you start with achieving that mental clarity and destination. Let's mention also some things about the animal cards, specifically the turtle and the camel, because you might find messages within them that are also helpful regarding this mental clarity that you will be seeking. Starting off with the turtle. So the turtle lies in the energies between the water and the earth element. So there is a sense with the turtle of both being grounded and understanding the practicalities of life, but also being connected to one's emotions and intuition. A part of the work for you might have to do with working on your intuition. This is maybe also the point to mention with the super moon. It is a moon that happens not too often, like it's not like once in a blue moon type of expression, but it's not every full moon you have. And it is a time of working on your manifestations, connecting with them. And I feel like this for you will happen through your intuition. Again, if we are to take it back to the mind and having serene clarity within the mind, meditation is one great way to achieve this, but like mentally focused meditation, so to say. Because I remember something really interesting from I had read before, and maybe I will not explain it in the best way possible, but there is, so to say, different types of intuition. There is the intuition of our body or mind, physical mind, mind that knows what's going on around us, that gives us hints in form of an intuitive thought or feeling or hunch. And there is another type of intuition which comes from a higher realm, of course, if you believe and are interested in those things. And that intuition can only come when you manage to establish that connection of your physical mind with the universal mind, let's say. And this can happen only after, for a long time, you have worked on focusing your human mind, on developing your concentration. Then you can open that gate. So there might be something for you there where you need to put in the earthly effort of working with your earthly mind in order to develop your intuitive mind, in order to open up that connection to something outside of you and to receive that creative spark, that fire of creation. Again, with the turtle, another thing I want to mention that I think we mentioned earlier. You know that turtles live extremely long lives. They can live for I don't know how long, but let's say for 100 or 150 years. A turtle gathers a lot of life experiences, and this is where it also develops its knowledge, its expertise. You cannot, similar to the Sagittarius, embrace this energy truly if you haven't gone through the same. So your story will not be, let's say like Pio, to the story of someone spending a lot of time secluded from people and from experiences and working on yourself there. There will be an aspect here of gathering a lot of information and a lot of situations. This will bring you that deep knowledge and understanding and clarity that you will be looking for. Once you have it, then you will also be able to put it forward. This might be something that deep down you are striving towards. Maybe this is the pentacle that you want to present to the world. That knowledge, that experience, that tale of your life, and this teaching to others. And if you relate to this, again, this will be something that will be able to happen at a later point, after you have gathered and enjoyed all of these different experiences. And lastly, regarding the camel is an interesting animal. It is an extremely resilient animal. You, in this sense, the camel reminds you that you can do the same. You can make it through all sorts of hostile environments. You know that the camel can start its journey through the desert and carry on for many, many days or weeks without food, without water, without whatever. This reminds you to know that also you, no matter what situation you find yourself in, you have this resilience within you to move out of this situation successfully. I want to emphasize also with the camel, exactly because of this quality, and with the Sagittarius, that travel might be extremely important for you during this transit, of course, but even afterwards. Because with travel, this is probably the fastest way you can gather new experiences and see different parts of life and different people within it. because it is more so easy to feel like you know everything when you only know your neighborhood. But once you explore different parts of the world, then your narrative starts to change, that paradigm starts to change. You start to connect with people also on a different um, wavelength. And the last thing probably with the camel that I want to mention, and then this will be everything. I feel like this part of the reading got really long. But yes, this has to do with the camel being a really cheeky animal. So the camel represents in itself different extremes, so to say. On the one hand, the extreme of water being like the only oasis within a fire, which is the desert, but also being an extremely calm animal and also being an extremely bitchy animal. I don't know if you are aware how unpleasant camels can be when they decide to spit on you, but they are extremely unpleasant creatures. Little assholes. But this is not something that you see on their face written immediately. So there is a message here for you as well, that you as a being are not a one-dimensional person. You have different parts of you for different situations, different happenings, different times and places in life. And you are the only one responsible for how you act. You are in charge of your own reactions and what face you are going to show. So don't let yourself be swayed by the outside and by circumstances. You are the controlling factor both in your mind, starting from the mind, from then onwards on your reactions and actions, and from then onwards also of your outside manifestation of those things. Okay, pile 3. I really hope that this was helpful and understandable for you guys. And if you have any comments, if you made it up to this point, definitely let me know whether you related. And I wish you all the best.